everyone, Marco Montemagno here, the Tech Alchemist, techalchemist.com, and today I'm here with a great guest, Eren Bali, co-founder of Udemy. Hello Eren, how are you going?
Amazing. So thanks for inviting me.
Oh, thanks to you. I have to say, before to begin, that I'm absolutely a great fan of Udemy. I'm not affiliated in any way, but I've been discovering, I think, a few months ago, I was looking for a tool or a platform to promote some stuff, some material, and then I discovered Udemy, and I thought, in the beginning I was not so convinced. I thought, oh, will be good, will be bad. Then I started to try it, and I'm an enthusiast really. I have 3 courses, so I think you did a great job, honestly, and very happy, very happy. So I did this confession in the beginning, and I will try to be hard now, not to be too much in love. Okay, so Eren, first of all, I want to understand, well, where are you from? I was particularly interested because on Tech Alchemist we have not only people from Silicon Valley, but from all over the world. So you from Turkey?
Yes.
All right.
I grew up and went to college in Turkey, and I moved to Silicon Valley 4 years ago.
Okay,
so
okay.
I haven't been here for long.
Okay, and Udemy, how many founders are the founders of the company?
So we have two co-founders. I'm the CEO.
Okay.
And there's another Turkish co-founder. So we moved to the Silicon Valley together and launched Udemy.
Okay.
For a while we had an American co-founder who joined us, but he's not in the doesn't work.
Cool. But by the way, how is to go in Silicon Valley? I mean, coming from Turkey and arriving in Silicon Valley, I don't think that people say, "Oh, great!" You know, probably people say, "Who are those guys?" So, how was the first impact?
So, actually, let me give you guys a quick history of the company, and then it will kind of come all together. So, we first started Udemy in Turkey almost 6 years ago.
Okay.
So it was the same vision. The vision was pretty simple. There were millions of experts around the world, like yourself, who had something to teach. But there was no easy way for them to teach and share their expertise with the rest of the world. A pretty straightforward vision, just like any successful company. We want a very straightforward, simple vision. So the vision was the same. We launched our first product in Turkey. So it took us a little bit of time to bring it to the market and launch it. But the moment we launched it, we realized that it wouldn't work in Turkey.
Right.
So we had this amazing engineering team. We built a live classroom application, so experts could teach live classes to the rest of the world and share it online. And if they wanted to make it for free, then everything would be free for them.
Okay.
And if they wanted to charge, then we would actually let them make some income from this teaching. And then we would just be getting a small cut.
All right.
But when we launched in Turkey, we had few small issues. First of all, it was way too early. Right now, Udemy is really rising, given amazing growth, but it's 2012. So when we launched in 2006 first, most of the video conferencing technologies were extremely kind of early. So the technical infrastructure wasn't really there.
Yeah.
And people weren't really online nearly as much as they are right now. So just getting people to be in the same time online was very hard. And also, but the other thing we learned was, if you want to start something like Udemy, where you need a huge amount of users and experts in a dense environment, being in a small country was a disadvantage. So we realized we had to move to the Silicon Valley. All
right. So sorry, Eren, to interrupt, but this is one topic that is always interesting, I think, if you do an online business. But first of all, Udemy can be a great tool for online business, but I'm coming on this topic in 1 second. The other point is that if you're doing something, I don't know, a platform or whatever, where is a market, and you have on one side, in your case, you have instructors, on the other side, you have students. So where do you start from? Because if you don't have instructors, you don't have students. But if you don't have students, you don't have instructors. So how did you handle this problem in the beginning?
I will come to that in a second. I just realized that I never told your viewers what Udemy is. So in case there are people who don't know Udemy,
Yeah.
Udemy is a marketplace for online courses. So there are all these experts around the world who have something to share, but there was no platform for them to do that. So we created this website. So as a user, you can go to udemy.com and take an online course from an expert, from a real world expert.
Yeah.
So that's the simple idea. Back to the problem that we discussed. So that's what people commonly call chicken and egg problem.
Right.
So when you don't have any instructors, no students come to your website. And when you don't have any students, no instructors would bother creating courses. Right? So this is a very common problem. Like several companies go through this. And it's notoriously too hard to
solve it. And how did you make it?
So the trick we made was, we launched Udemy in the US in 2010, mid-2010. And we realized that the easiest audience for us was the tech audience, because we were in Silicon Valley already. And we got some of our investors, and we asked them to join a panel for us. So we created a curriculum of startup-related or technology-related courses.
Okay.
We exactly told them what they should be talking about, and they went and talked in front of an audience, and then we videotaped those and converted to a course, because we had organized the thing as a course, and we had structured already, not as a conference, but as a course curriculum. So we took their videos, we launched them as courses, and then we went to some distribution channels, some newsletters with a lot of traffic about a lot of users who are interested in technology and entrepreneurship. Like
appsumo.com or something like that.
This was before AppSumo.
Okay.
So the first one was Startup Digest.
Okay.
So it was a newsletter for entrepreneurs. So we took our startup courses and we made a deal with them to promote those courses on Startup Digest for their user base. And we just gave a decent part of the revenue to Startup Digest guys. And then when they promoted it, the course did pretty well in the sales, right? So they were happy. Our instructors were happy. The distribution channel was happy. And then we started giving them more courses. So
all right.
Launched a few courses.
I stop you on this because I think it's very interesting. So I try to recap what you just said. On one side, you focused on a niche, very specific, so the tech people, because you were in Silicon Valley. Then you produced some courses directly by filming experts and creating a course out of it. By the way, Udemy has got all the paragraphs and all the structure of the courses, so the platform, I guess, was very good to create the good story of the course. And then you find the right partner to promote, and obviously they were happy, users were happy, and then you start to build from it. I will come to this point, Eren, a little bit later, because I want to ask you tips and advices about promotions. One thing before about Udemy, you passed through Founders Institute, possible, or I'm wrong?
Yes.
Okay.
When I first moved to the Silicon Valley, I knew simply nobody. So we attended Founder Institute, which was an incubator by AWS. And this was the first time I started building some network in the Valley.
Cool, okay. Founder Institute, I saw today, by the way, they graduated the startup number 650. And I think it was on TechCrunch. They said, okay, great startup passed through Founder Institute, Udemy. So I thought, okay, I didn't know that. And okay, for people who don't know what Founder Institute is, a accelerator program, I would say, like Y Combinator, where there is Paul Graham. Founder Institute, Adeo Rossi, I think, is the founder, a very smart guy.
So it's an accelerator or incubator like Y Combinator, but I would say that's slightly different because it's a little bit more early stage.
Okay.
So anybody who has a good idea, who wants to start a company, can go there. So it also acts like an academy, almost like an MBA program for entrepreneurs.
Cool. And I think a good way to networking if you arrive in Silicon Valley and you want to launch a business.
Exactly. So it's a lot larger in terms of number of companies in it.
Okay.
There are more than 500 companies around the world who are in it. So it's like a larger brand. Versus Y Combinator is more like a very small, very exclusive.
Yeah, elite of small. Okay.
Yes, it's like an elite thing.
Cool. Okay, Eren, I go back to the marketing strategy. For me, my mantra as a tech entrepreneur is marketing is education. In 2012 is no way out. It's so easier to sell something if you are an authority, perceived as an authority, and teaching something is one of the best way, in my opinion, to create your authority with your audience. So Udemy can be a great platform. That's why I'm using it, and that's why I think a lot of people are using it, and it helps to teach in a better way with a lot of tools. So can you tell me, and can you explain us a little bit, what do you think are the most powerful tool in a platform like Udemy for teaching? I mean, why people shouldn't just use something else or upload a video on YouTube and teach in there?
I think the thing that was most unique to Udemy was that it wasn't just one video that people would watch and go. We asked instructors to create a curriculum, a set of lectures that will take somebody from knowing nothing about the subject to a certain level. So it's closer to how you go to school, and most of the time you have no idea, and first they teach you what you should be learning, and then just every lecture you start iterating on the thing that you are learning. Versus one YouTube video will just teach you something very small. For example, a YouTube video will teach you what goes best with a certain type, which wine goes best with a certain type of fish.
Okay.
But if you want to become a wine connoisseur, you want like a structure, a curriculum. That was the biggest distinguishing point for us. And people weren't really creating courses when we started. That was a completely new idea for them. They were used to writing books. They were used to going to seminars and giving talks, and they were used to sometimes like launching small short video clips on YouTube. But book authors weren't very happy because their margins were very small. So there's a very small chance that their book will make it, and even if it makes it, they actually get a very small cut of the total revenues, and they don't own the books.
Right.
And the guys who create small video clips on YouTube, they get some views, but they don't get a real strong audience. I mean, you can't really build a community with the comments on YouTube. You do want some people that are strongly attached to your teaching environment. And if you go on seminars and if you give talks, it's awesome. You can make a decent living, but after some time you get sick of giving the same talk 100 times in a row. You want to do it once in a high quality manner, and you want to be able to share that with a lot more people.
Right.
So, and as you know, the seminars restrict users in terms of the location and time. If I want to attend your amazing seminar and I'm not in Italy right now, I have no way of attending it. So there was a very clear need, but it was just that people didn't know that there should be a teaching process.
Okay.
So you said that marketing is education, and Steve Jobs says that education is marketing.
Yeah.
So he first had to educate experts around the opportunities of teaching a course.
Yeah.
Because they had no idea, and that's how we really got the momentum.
I just want to remember to the people watching this video that you can use Udemy for free. Correct me, Eren, if I'm wrong, but you can use it for free if you just create a course for free, and that's it. Or you use it for free as an instructor, and you get all the margin. The cut of Udemy is, I never remember if it's 15% because it changed if it's your affiliation code, or 30%. I think it changed based on the link. You tell me, Eren. Yeah?
So we are very similar to Apple's App Store.
Yeah.
If you have a free course, we don't charge anything, although it actually costs us to host the course. If you have a paid course, then we get 30% of the revenue, and we pay you 70%. So it's very similar to Apple, but we have one small tweak. If you bring your own users to the platform, then we only get 15%.
All right, all right. So I hope the next step will be that you give me 100% and that's it. Wouldn't be sustainable. That's the dream of us instructors. All right, cool. So in my opinion, as I told you, I think the promotion is a very interesting part. So I want to go a little bit deeper about your promotion marketing strategy in beginning and now, because in beginning, okay, you had to build your bases, your base, and now I would say Udemy is already a growing company, so probably it's changing also the user acquisition strategy. Can you explain us a little bit about this topic?
Yes, you guessed it very accurately. When we first started and we had no traffic, we were using third-party distribution channels as a way of bringing liquidity to the market. So we have existing very strong relationships with Amazon, Groupon, Link Social, AppSmo, and Stack Social, and 60 other distribution partners. So we have all the infrastructure set up. So when we want to run a deal with them, first they have this trust relationship between us and them. So it doesn't make sense for the instructors to try to build the same thing. And then we were like just launching the courses in all the different channels in addition to Udemy.com's own channel.
Excuse me, Eren. Why? Sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to understand. Why did you say Amazon?
Because Amazon has the Amazon local offering.
Ah, all right.
So they actually distribute some of our courses.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, they kind of choose what courses they want, but we give a catalog of different courses. And they test different of our courses, and if one of the courses do very well with their own audience, then they actually run a national deal on it, and then both the instructor and Udemy makes a lot of money from it.
Okay.
So these were it took us a few years to be able to build all this reselling relationships and infrastructure, but now it brought us a lot of value for promotions. But now Udemy is in the point where Udemy.com's own traffic and user base is actually a lot larger than our reselling channels. So I think as of this month, 70% of total revenue is coming from our own website.
Okay.
And because we have an increasing user base of students, which first of all trust the Udemy brand. When you want to do an online course, the biggest problem is you don't trust whether it will be this course will deliver the value, because you may not know the person, the instructor, expert, and you may not know whether this would work or not. But if you already took a course on Udemy, you kind of pass through a certain point. It's just about whether this particular instructor's particular course is good or not. But they also know that we are very consumer friendly. So if any user is dissatisfied, we give a no question refund.
Yeah.
So they trust us to handle that. So what we saw was the conversion rates of people who are taking courses on Udemy were 5 times higher than people who don't know the Udemy brand.
All right. Yeah, I think also about myself, Eren, as a Udemy buyer. Obviously, when something coming out and I think, okay, it's cool, definitely I'm gonna buy it. And also, price, just to remember, on Udemy goes from $19 or $5 to $400. I'm selling a course at $597, so high price, I would say, with comparison. Yeah. All right, so cool. But and if you should say today, what works best for you is the Udemy user base. Are you using any advertising, AdWords, Facebook advertising, or deal partnership with AppSumo like style? AppSumo is a website with, I think, 650,000 subscribers, so it's a huge Geek Daily deal website.
So to be honest, we are around the size of AppSumo, so AppSumo still helps us, but it's a very small chunk of our total sales right now, just because we grew. We grew almost 10 times since last year, right?
Okay.
So, I think what's working best right now is that 2 things. First, instructors have been pretty good at bringing their own audience to the site, and they see a lot higher conversion rates or revenue opportunities from Udemy than the previous things that they were doing. So that's helping us big time. But I think majority of the sales on Udemy is coming from organically people discovering courses. people just, there's a lot of word of mouth around taking a course. You take the course, it usually takes a while, like it takes a month until you finish it, but then you start sharing with your friends. That happens pretty heavily on Udemy. We just made a survey, 70% of our users told us that they shared Udemy with at least one more friend.
Okay,
that's a huge
interesting,
number, right?
Very interesting.
So that's really teaching in all these network effects. Once we have more users, more instructors come with courses, they bring some of their user base, some of their audience, but then a lot more, those people start taking other people's courses. So when 5,000 instructors all bring their small audience, and each of them take each other's courses, then it's actually a win-win for everybody in the ecosystem.
Right, multiplying effect. About this topic, I was curious about what are the, I'm thinking about people doing online business, and they're not only startups, you have freelance, or you have small, medium business, or solopreneurs. So you have so many people that want to do something online, promote themselves or their companies, or they manage, digital manager for a company. So so many people that can use online courses to promote, teach, and so
make a living.
Yeah, make a living or improve their business, whatever they want. What are the hot topics? What are the hot sectors that you would recommend to create a course in this moment? Because you are in a great position, in my opinion, because you see what people want to learn. So and this is great. So you can understand what are the best and hottest areas where it's good to create courses, because you know that there is a market demand or market request on it. Yeah.
So okay, we started with technology and business. So there were some very hot areas in it, like when iPhone's App Store starts growing, creating an iPhone application became a very hot topic. So the first people who took advantage of those made hundreds of thousands of dollars in Udemy very quickly.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, sometimes new markets emerge, and then there's a new opportunity to make just the right course in the right timing, right? If you're a marketing person, for example, Pinterest is the growing new marketing environment channel, right?
Yeah.
So if you had an amazing Pinterest marketing course, and you would be probably making a lot of money from that.
Okay.
And outside the tech or marketing areas, things like photography are really hot, because increasingly more and more people are being semi-professional about photography. So they want to just go like one step beyond taking digital photos from their iPhone.
I see.
That's a big area. Personal finance is really big. There's a lot of demand around it. Even like music, just playing different music instruments, is a pretty interesting market, because I had a harmonica.
Okay.
And I was able to find zero resources about playing, like learning to play it.
Right.
If you want to play piano or guitar, of course there's something, because more people do it. But the harmonica was almost non-existent. It's a very long tail subject. But if you think about the whole world, how many people would want to learn harmonica? There's still a very large audience.
Absolutely.
Right? If I can find all those the niche long tail subjects, just because of the power of internet, then you can actually make a pretty strong revenue from those.
Yeah, cool.
There's you need to just really find things that people really need, and ideally things that are not really available online.
Right.
And all of us start getting the whole world's demand in your particular product.
So is it right that a good approach can be to have a focus also on what's coming next, what are the hot news in the news, and probably from there you can understand what people will want? You say, I don't know, iPhone 5 is coming out, probably people want to know the 100 best tips to use iPhone 5 to supercharge, become a great user, power user of iPhone 5, just to say one. But probably it works like this, I think, also on dancing. Maybe is coming out a new dance or a new music, and people want to learn. So it can be a good approach, in your opinion, this one. I keep my eyes on news and then I try to create a course.
Yes, and that's actually a very good point. So that's one of the ways you can do it. People call this trend jacking.
Okay.
So
Tell me again the name.
scam jacking.
Okay.
So that's like it. But it's similar to books actually. I mean, if you look at the books, some of them are about the trend, the new topics. Some of them are things that you could never guess. And even though we see all these revenues and all these conversion rates, still sometimes the courses launch, we think it's not going to make anything, but then suddenly it becomes a huge success.
Okay.
Right? So there's always this like factor of like building something really neat, really interesting and new.
Right.
And then you can make a big thing.
For people doing online business, would you recommend to start with a free course to make them visible, promote themselves, and then try maybe to convert on the product that they sell, the service, or whatever they want to do? Or would you recommend to position themselves with a paid course because free maybe is perceived as not as professional? What's your experience and tips about?
So I think the most successful way has been you first create a paid course, but you make it really affordable. So,
all right.
and then you make a free version of it, maybe the first chapter, like first 4 lectures, and maybe you create a new free course for that. Right? So it just becomes a distribution funnel. So your free course gets a lot of installs, a lot of people to take the course, right? And then you promote your paid course through the free course as like this improved version. This is similar to how on App Store there are light versions of the games and the pro games which you pay for.
Okay.
And then what happens is your service, if you also are giving a service, let's say you are giving a consulting service.
Right.
Your service is probably significantly more expensive than your paid course. What happens is like from your paid course, then you can upsell your services. But you have to make this in a very gentle way.
Right.
People hate direct promotions. And I can tell you, if you have a paid course, and if you make your contact information visible, people will already come back to you for more just direct help.
Okay.
Right? Let's say you are a person who is expert at pricing. Right? There's like pricing consultancy practice. You could teach a course about pricing, and a lot of people would actually get value from that, and you probably make a lot of money from that. So it would be like a pretty profitable endeavor for you.
Yeah.
But then there will be a small part of the total people who wants to do it for a large company, and they will actually call you.
All right.
Ask for that. Because I was thinking about it. When I was in college, most of our best professors were also like pretty wealthy consultants. But they would never come to the school and say, okay, I have this consulting service, right? They would never promote it directly. But people would call them as the expert. You can make a lot more money from the direct service if people call you versus you try to sell it very heavily.
But one doubt. It's not dangerous, but I'm always afraid that if I have a lot of free users, they will never buy from me because they are free. It's a free category. They just want the free stuff, and then they will never buy from me. Do you see this risk or not? Or maybe people that go to learn free stuff when they trust you, then the conversion rate can be better. I never understood this.
There's a per case thing really, because giving free stuff is one of the best marketing techniques, right? Commonly.
Yeah.
But then if you give too much free, obviously then you cannibalize your potentially paid users. So there's just a fine balance. You have to give few things free, but not too much, so that they will ignore your main product.
All right.
Because this is similar to most of the businesses have freemium models, which work very well. But then some companies do something like everything is free, but you only pay for just not seeing advertising. And then they don't get any conversion rates because this is not such a big addition.
Yeah, not a big deal.
Yes, it's not a big deal. I mean, you have to layer this pretty carefully. So even if you have a paid course on Udemy, we just let you make a few of the lectures free. So people can watch them, but they can't get the full experience. That may be actually one of the other kind of ideal balances. You make your paid course, but the first 4 lectures may be free.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. I've just a couple of questions more, then I'll let you go because I know that you're super busy. Are there particular tools that you use or that you would recommend for online business to improve, to support your online business, maybe, or marketing tools or production tools, or I don't know, website to produce, improve your video, whatever? Are there, if you should say, your top 3 websites that you would recommend to a friend of you for improving his online business, what would you recommend?
It won't sound like a new idea, but I can still say that having a central blog where you constantly share information is very valuable, but you need some patience. You don't get just like a huge success overnight. Blogging or just constantly giving out information is a slow process.
All right.
The nice thing is you get momentum, you don't lose it. It just always goes up and up. Right? Just having a blog, sharing interesting ideas or informations, and constantly building this audience who likes your stuff is very good. So it's inbound marketing strategy. You don't try to sell directly, you just have people coming to you. And teaching a Udemy course has been also pretty effective for a lot of businesses, especially businesses which sell expertise indirectly or directly, right? Consulting businesses, teaching businesses, or even, I don't know, media companies.
Right.
Like generating video is actually pretty important, video and images. So like a very shareable images or videos. Sometimes what people do is they bring together some insight about the market. They do some research. And then you can hire a graphic designer on odesk.com in a pretty affordable way. And you ask that person to build an infographic from the research you made. The nice thing is those kind of images, infographics, are very shareable items. They get a lot of likes, sharing,
right.
Social media attention, and then those kind of things start like making you look like the real expert about that subject.
Okay.
Right. And if people join Udemy, we have a very active community of instructors. So we have actually 3 people in the team whose only job is helping instructors with this kind of opportunities. Okay.
So I remember for people watching this video, odesk.com or 99 Designs, or there are several crowdsourcing platform where you can find coders and designers to create images or software or mobile app or whatever you want for you. Last question, is there any have you seen any topic area of business where you wouldn't recommend to create a course, or you think an online course can be a sweet spot and anyway a good addition for any kind of business? Or is someone particular that you say, no, maybe this one better not? What do you think?
There's really not too many practices that I wouldn't suggest, but I think a good way of looking at it is if there are also non-fictional books about a certain subject which are successful, and there's a good chance that an online course would also be successful.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, people used to read books to learn different subjects, but it's just, and the old way of thing is it's not interactive. There's nobody that you can communicate with around the thing that you are learning. And reading text is a lot more boring than watching video lectures. So they can actually look at books, and if in a certain subject the books market haven't worked, maybe it's like a reason to believe a course may not work as well.
Okay.
But this is not a perfect net. Like there's always a chance to do something which most people don't do and have a huge success because it's neat.
Right. By the way, Udemy has got a great feature. Congrats for it, Eren, which is the mashup feature, where you can easily sync your video and your slides. I've been using it really. I think that would be a website by itself. It's really cool, cool feature, and it helps to maybe create a video and not being boring, but you add this slide in sync with your speech. So this is a good tool, I think. And what's next for Udemy, Eren? What's coming next? You go international. What will happen for Udemy in the next 6 months? I mean,
huge plans. I mean, if you just see what has been going on inside the company, you will be really surprised. But a few things that I can share. There are other things that I can't share, but
okay.
Yeah, we do like the launching the new version of our course creation platform. So it makes it like even easier than what it is right now.
All right.
It's like, I mean, put a lot of time into making it very seamless. So like we made it in a way that my mom can easily do that.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Okay, and tell me the not shareable ones.
I will just share it as a private because we haven't even launched full press about it, but we submitted our iPad application so that people can take courses on their iPad.
All right.
The iPad application, you can also download the lectures. So if you are going to an airplane, right, if you are flying somewhere where you don't have internet, you can still take your courses, right? So that's pretty big, and we are actually launching in several different platforms in near future. So iPad was the first one, but like iPhone, Android, even TVs, even Udemy courses will be everywhere, everywhere that users want them to be.
Excellent.
You will even be able to watch your courses in your TV, right? So you're just really thinking hard about being cross-platform.
All right.
This will be for us. And then we are just, what else is really soon? We are adding the assessment and quiz features so you can get more interactive courses.
Okay.
It's not just about watching lectures, it will be more interactive. And we have some really strong engagement tools that I can share.
Excellent.
So very soon, honestly, like when I say it, it means like next month you will see most of this.
Okay, Eren, so thank you so much for sharing some tips and advices. I really appreciate it. Congrats for Udemy. For people watching this video, I really hope you will give it a try. And I also think Udemy has the excellent ecosystem, I would say. I mean, as an instructor, I'm sharing tips and I get tips from other instructors. So you're not alone to create your online course. That often is the reason that, you know, you say, why should I create an online course? You stay there alone. In this way, you feel like a little bit, the family feeling is good also that I have. And it is another thing. And the tools are easy. So you just create your video or PowerPoint or notes, slides, and then you upload it, so it's easy. The platform is doing the rest. So I really appreciate it. And well, once again, Eren, I'm not affiliated. I mean, we meet here first time in this video, but I'm in love for Udemy. So I hope other people will use this platform for their online business and not only. You know?
No, thanks a lot. And Margaret, this was a very fun conversation for me. So.
Thanks so much, and bye San Francisco. We meet the next time in San Francisco and I'll be there. Okay.
Yeah, totally. Just like give me a call and we should
Absolutely. All right. Good luck for everything. Bye.
Have a good day.